Kia ora Universe and Kia ora New Zealand, Victoria Velasquez Vincent here, your Miss Universe New Zealand 2024, back with another interview and interrogation with one of the Miss Universe New Zealand 2025 candidates. Hello Carmina, how are you?
Hello Victoria, I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I would like us to assume that there are heaps of people, I'm hoping that there will be, heaps of people watching that don't know anything about you. So if you were to give us like an executive summary of who you are, could you please give that to us?
Oh golly gosh, I wish I could just copy and paste from my LinkedIn. But for an executive summary, I think we can put me in a nutshell saying that I'm 25. I am half Filipino, half Kiwi, much like yourself. And here I am doing Miss Universe 2025, Miss Universe New Zealand, I should say, 2025, which is probably one of the biggest and most important things that I have done so far in my life.
Oh, that's so exciting. What would be the second most important thing that you've done in your life so far?
The second most important thing I've done in my life so far, well, I hate to be so cliche, but I think get an education. They like to say that knowledge is power. I have a degree in journalism and a postgraduate in IT. So I'm a bit of a nerd. So doing pageantry, how does that really mesh together? Well, it doesn't, but here I am. And I think I'm here to represent that, even nerds can do it.
Yeah, and I love that you're Kiwi Filipino, nerdy, also pageant girl. Like you can exist in so many different realms at the same time. So no need to worry about all of those like contradictions, I guess you could call them. So I want to start this off really light and fun. And I have been stalking your Instagram today, and I've chosen one photo that I've screenshot. And I would like you to give me like a story or a fun fact about the photo, or just anything that you have to tell me about this photo, because I'm curious about it. This one here is what I've chosen.
Oh, this is an interesting one. All right. So in my second year of my broadcasting degree, we were tasked with an independent project. And for my independent project, I wanted to do a podcast. Podcasting has been something that's always appealed to me. And it still does, even though for now my journalism days are a wee bit behind me. But I decided I wanted to do a podcast because I always like the idea of more longer form journalism. You can flesh out your ideas more, get more information, and there's something a bit meatier than just, a few wee sound bites and, 3 or 4 sentences. So I decided that I would do this podcast, which is called The Cost of Love, and it is still available on Spotify, and it essentially looks at both the emotional as well as the monetary costs of modern day relationships. So, it covered a lot of ground. It covered things like how much is the average wedding in this current day and age? How much do people spend on engagement rings? All those sorts of things. So it put a lot into perspective about what people are willing to pay to make relationships work.
That's so fascinating. I can imagine your journalism background as well as the experience with the podcast would have helped you in terms of like your communication skills, do you think? I think so.
I would like to hope so, considering I've got a degree in communications. So
yeah.
You would hope. But I think that it has definitely helped me in being confident, especially in front of a camera. In this situation, it's quite different. You're asking the questions, I'm answering them, which is a really nice tone of the tables, to be fair. Yeah. But all in all, I think that it has really given me a good grounding for being on camera, how to speak into a microphone, what to say, how to keep it appropriate, all those sorts of things.
No, absolutely. And, I'm a big believer that not just being able to answer a question, but being able to ask a really like intelligent and inquisitive question shows a lot more about a woman or a man's, anyone really, ability to communicate. I feel like people focus so much on people's ability to answer questions, but asking questions is also really, really important in my books. The reason why I chose this one was because you've got the question here, what does love cost? So I have a follow-up question to that.
Yes.
If you choose one, would you choose love or the crown?
I would choose love every day.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. You didn't even stop to think about it. You're like, love.
No, I don't have to think about it. I think of the person that I love beside the crown, and I would gravitate more towards the person that I love. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. They are so lucky to be loved by you. So I would like to know more about your work life and your career and how it is tied in to your journey to Miss Universe New Zealand. Aside from like the podcast and everything, like what are the other like transferable skills that you've learned along the way?
I think in terms of other transferable skills, a lot really does revolve around communication and how you interact with other people. So, for example, when I was doing my broadcasting degree, most of the people around me in my classes, they were quite extroverted. So communicating with these people wasn't, too difficult. However, when I rolled around to doing my postgraduate more recently, this is IT. And the IT world is a very different world from the media world. And so, we all have these sort of preconceived ideas around hearing all these kinds of stereotypes and whatnot. And I was hoping to be proven wrong with the stereotypes in IT, but sadly, they were actually very spot on for me. So I was one of sometimes, one or two females in a class. Sometimes I was the only female in a class. And I really felt that there was a gap between people being in class and being engaged with the people around them. So it really put my people skills to the test, trying to work in teams with certain individuals. So it was a good push, but it was also a reality check that not everyone is going to be so forthcoming. Not everyone's going to be as cozy and warm and chit-chatty as you would like. So it was a good eye-opener about, the world is made up of all sorts.
Absolutely. And like the way that you need to navigate connecting with different people is quite a complex thing to approach, to be honest. And I feel like not many people have mastered it, unfortunately, which causes a lot of problems. But that's a really interesting transferable skill, I suppose, that you've learned. I'm curious to know, so as half Filipinos, we know that pageantry is like a national sport in our mother's country. However, in New Zealand, unfortunately, it is not quite on the same level. I feel like people have a lot of preconceived ideas about pageantry that are based on like a lack of understanding for the most part. So if you were to try and convince someone that pageantry is not merely superficial, how would you go about that?
I think the best way of convincing someone about it is to encourage them to do a pageant for themselves. So, for example, the first pageant I did, I didn't really have pageants in mind ever. I never really thought, I could do a pageant. I didn't think that I had what it took, but I was always curious about pageants. And of course, like stereotypes get thrown around a lot, and you see a lot through media, and you start wondering, how do pageants really tie in with female empowerment? They seem kind of sexist, and are these girls being objectified? What's really going on? So I had a lot of questions over the years. But I think that when it finally rolled around to me trying out my first pageant, a lot of those questions were really put to bed and really answered quite well. So in doing it, I learned a lot, and it's more so the people and the connections that you make. Once you start talking to the other girls that you're in the competition with, it takes very little time to realize, hey, these people actually do have brains, they're capable, they're intelligent, and so your preconceived ideas do wash away very quickly, but it's really a matter of immersion, I think.
I'd be interested to see some of the people I know get thrown into pageantry just to try it out, just people that are so like the more like masculine guys I know, for example, like just go try it out and see how it goes for you. I love that.
I think that in doing pageants as well, there's also a lot of self-learning that you do. For example, with the girls that I've spoken to, a lot of them say, I've learned so much about myself. I realize what my triggers are. Some people might say, I didn't realize that I was so bad with timekeeping. I didn't realize that I was so easily flustered. So it makes you realize a lot about yourself, and it's all conducive to your self-improvement, which is really a big part of why I am giving another pageant a whirl.
So how many pageants have you done in your 25 years of life?
I've only done 3, this being my 3rd, and it all kicked off last year when I saw an advert when I was doom scrolling on social media, and I saw this advert pop up for Mutianga Filipinas New Zealand, and at that point I didn't even know that that was a major pageant in the Philippines, no clue. So it kind of piqued my interest, and I did a little bit of research here and there, and I figured out this is actually something I'd like to try out. I've been curious about pageants, so that was my first one. And then thereafter, in I think it was October of last year, that's when I tried out for Miss Philippines New Zealand. And that's how I got my first crown.
Wow, first crown on the second time around. That's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
So the way that I kind of look at the journey to the crown, I compare it a little bit to like you're really campaigning, right, in your own way. And it starts from the day you sign your application form all the way up until you meet the judges face to face, and then you obviously perform on stage in front of the audience. So throughout your campaign for Miss Universe New Zealand, as well as like on the prelims and finals night, what are you hoping that the judges are gonna feel and see in you?
I hope that the judges will perceive a sense of authenticity. I think that throughout the time that I've started my first pageant up until now, I think that's been one thing that I've really wanted to hang on to, because I feel like growing up I really sacrificed my authenticity for the sake of, you know, making social connections, to be seen in a certain light, to make certain opportunities open up. So in being authentic, it's also being vulnerable, and I hope that that is something that the judges will perceive and that they will appreciate.
Okay, I can't wait to see that as well. So this is like nearly my final question, but it's a big one.
Alrighty.
No pressure. Obviously, I am the current Miss Universe New Zealand. Why should I pass my crown on to you?
I believe that you should pass your crown on to me because I represent the New Zealand woman. The New Zealand woman is somebody who can demonstrate that she is authentic, that she is confident, she is intelligent, and she is informed. And with the crown, it is more than just an accessory, but it is a privilege and it is an opportunity to make an actual difference and to be a voice in the universe.
Beautiful. For all of those watching, find out whether Carmina will be taking my crown from me on June 24. Your tickets are available where? I should know this. Ticketmaster?
Yeah, our event finder. I'm pretty sure it's event finder.
Apologies, Marie, when you're watching this. I should know all of this information, but guys, buy your tickets and find out whether Carmina will be taking my crown from me. So like I said earlier, I'm a big fan of people who are able to ask a really intelligent question. And so I am getting everybody to leave a question with me that I will ask the next girl in line. And then that also means that you'll be answering a question from the previous girl. So I'll start with that. And the question that has been left for you in life in general, but also throughout your pageant journey, what is it that motivates you?
That is a good question. And I think it's a question that I want to do justice to. I think that what motivates me in life is the idea of success. And in the past, I would have said, oh, what motivates me the most is the fear of failure, you know, and it's kind of the same sword, but it's the other side, if that makes sense. The idea of actually succeeding is what motivates me. And even in a competition like this, of course, everyone prepares and everyone hopes for the crown. But even in the face of what looks like loss, that's where you actually do a lot of learning. So for the first pageant I didn't win, I didn't place anything. particularly special. And on the face of it, it would have looked like I had a major loss. But in reality, when you take a little bit of perspective, you realize actually this is a win for myself, because if not for that, I wouldn't have realized I had so much room for improvement. And if not for realizing I need to work on this, this, and that, then I probably wouldn't have succeeded in the next pageant I did. So it is the idea of success, and that moves me forward.
And it takes a lot of self-awareness and self-reflection to be able to learn from those moments, I feel. So it's good that you're sort of like spending time within your own mind to reflect on the moments that didn't necessarily go your way, so that you can make sure that the next moment does go your way.
Yes.
So that leaves me with a question for you. Could you please give me a question for the next girl in line? I don't know if you know who she is, but I won't tell you just in case you don't.
I think I might have an idea, but let's not make that cloud any of my future questions. All right. I would like to ask, what is the most important thing about pageantry in 2025?
Wonderful question. Thank you ever so much, and thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing your beautiful face in the flesh when I get back to New Zealand next month. Best of luck with all of your preparations. I'm very, very excited for you and the rest of the girls, and I cannot wait to be sitting back and relaxing and cheering you all on while you guys perform on stage. But enjoy your evening. I will see you very, very soon.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your time.
No worries. See ya.
Bye-bye.